we share our experiences with other people and learn their stories in return, something remarkable happens.
Our perspectives are expanded.
Connections are created.
And we're reminded that we're not alone.
The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the life story of every person on the face of the planet.
And it will continue to do so, really for generations.
So the question we're asking is, how do the stories that we tell influence our experience of what's happening?
And how we respond.
And the ways that we recover and rebuild.
I'm Matthew Baxley.
And I'm Hartley Newell-Acero.
Welcome to part 2 of a community collaboration podcast.
In part 1 of our community conversation, we shared our own stories of resilience and adaptation during the pandemic.
That process of storytelling, when used intentionally, can empower us to mobilize that resilience as this pandemic continues to impact our lives.
Today we're going to share with you the prompts that we used to help us unpack what we've lived through so far during the pandemic.
We hope that through this process, you'll discover not only the places where you've been hurt,
so that you can turn your focus to healing,
but also your places of strength,
so that you can offer that to yourself and others.
For these first few questions, Hartley, when you think back to the early days of the pandemic, what are you asking yourself?
So, how did you adapt to the changes? And what did you do to coexist with the world around you?
So once you answer those questions, maybe internally or with a friend, you can get more specific and think back to maybe the start of last winter, which is an especially hard time of transition.
What did you tell yourself to prepare for the darkness ahead?
And how did your behavior change to simply get through that winter in a new way?
What was comforting to you over the last year?
As the pandemic continues to impact our lives, it helps us to think about whether we feel any pressure to change our behaviors.
Are there new or different conflicts emerging within your family or friends?
How are you navigating changes in regards to the perceived risk around you?
What are the silver linings of the last year?
And how will you maintain the positive changes that you've made for the long term?
When we answer these questions out loud with our family or community, it allows us to take control of the way that we're reacting to situations around us.
Yeah, especially as opposed to letting those situations control us. So if you're looking for some specific examples of how this conversation can sound or feel, go back and listen to part 1 of the Community Collaboration podcast.
And if you need more support as you go through this process, reach out to the behavioral health team at Sawtooth Mountain Clinic. Just call 218-387-2330 to set up an appointment with one of our counselors.
The bottom line, as a community, it's our ability to collaborate that will continue to empower us as we navigate this constantly changing world around us.